You're early. Again.
Yeah, I needed a break. What flavor is that?
Apple cinnamon. I want you to meet Sam.
I'm Steven.
Hi.
Is this yours?
Yeah, you should join us.
Sure, why not?
Is there somewhere you gotta be?
I'm meeting someone for dinner.
Who is she?
Her name's Emily. I met her at the bar.
You picked up a girl at a bar?
She picked me up, actually.
She already sounds needy.
That's funny.
Simon might be right, you know.
What's it to you?
I didn't mean it as a joke. I'm just saying some women will ask you out to dinner, make you pay, go with you back to your own place, and you'll wake up in the morning and find your wallet missing.
Has this ever happened to you?
More often than not.
Forget you.
And there isn't the slightest chance that she might have found me interesting.
Definitely not.
Whatever.
Look, it was more or less a joke, but I'll admit, I've had bad experiences. I'm just saying, don't let her get to you without knowing what she really wants.
Fair enough.
So that has actually happened to you before?
Forget it. I was just trying to level with Steven.
Level with me?
Well, yeah, it's your home. I do have some manners.
But other than this place, all hell breaks loose around you, doesn't it?
How about you tell me what happened, and then we'll be even.
I don't think so.
What happened to leveling things out in someone else's home?
First-time visits are an exception for me.
Well, you pulled that one out of thin air.
Don't worry about it, we were just joking.
If you really want to know that badly, I'll tell you.
See, that wasn't so hard.
I haven't even said anything yet. Anyway, it was right after I quit smoking.
Huh?
We'll get to that later. So I went to a bar and I had this urge to prove to myself it wasn't the only habit I could kick. I ordered plain water and drank it slowly. A woman was sitting close by and I could tell she was watching me. She was real pretty too, so naturally I was flattered.
Because it doesn't happen often, right?
Right there, buddy. So she came up to me and asked why I only got water. I explained the same thing I'm explaining to you. One thing led to another, and we had a date planned that same night. So by now, I quit smoking and drinking, and I had a date with a beautiful woman. Let me tell you, I felt like $1,000,000.
I already feel sorry for you.
You should.
Just bear with me. We go to dinner, and I'm having a great time. She's laughing at all my jokes. She's flirting with me. She was so cute. You know, at that point, there was only one thing she could give me to make that night any better, and she did.
Now this is getting way too obvious.
It was never meant to be a mystery, Simon. So we go back to my place, after I paid for dinner, of course. She wanted to watch some TV, and that could only mean one thing. So that one thing led to another. To make a long story short, she took my watch and my wallet, and the $1,000,000 I felt like.
You must have had her number. Didn't you try finding her afterwards?
We planned it all out at the bar. How about you?
I think I'll be safe.
I'm sure you will be.
Why don't you tell us about her, Steven? Is she pretty?
Very.
Is she as tall as you?
A little shorter.
Does she remind you of Leslie?
We're gonna go through this again? I forgot about her a long time ago. I don't get why you and Larry can't seem to understand that.
Then why does it piss you off so much when I mention her? It's like your honesty is dishonest.
Are you talking about...
No, not her.
It's annoying because neither of you believe me. You don't think it's possible to get over someone that quick.
Come on, Steven. The next day you were telling me she doesn't mean anything to you anymore.
That's because she hardly ever did. Besides, even if I was lying back then, I'd definitely be over her by now, wouldn't I?
Not if you buried her instead of getting over it.
I didn't bury her.
This is none of my business, but did you love her? You guys are talking about love, right?
We're talking about a 2-year relationship.
Did you love her, Steven?
I don't know. Definitely not in any way either of you would understand.
Do you believe in it?
Yeah, sure. It wouldn't be so controversial if it wasn't real. People say you know when you're in love, and I didn't know. I guess I wasn't.
I'm sure it's different for everyone. You can't go off of what other people say, especially over something as important as that.
You've got me all wrong if you think I'm influenced by other people. I'm just comparing their description of a feeling to my own.
Yeah, but it's sort of like, you know how people establish a name for a specific color, but they don't necessarily see it the same way as everyone else? The only definite colors are black and white. Everything else can be an illusion. It's the only way something can be compared or judged fairly. What I'm saying is, lots of things can be seen as colors, including love, and it's definitely not black or white.
I never looked at it like that. Let me ask you something. Do you think people can be seen as colors?
Yeah, but whether or not they're black and white is a completely different question.
And if I asked it, what would you say?
You're tiptoeing into delicate territory, Stephen.
I've already taken several walks in that direction.
You sure?
Yes.
And what did you come up with?
Well, as far as colorful people go,
Wait. Can I guess what you're about to say?
by all means.
Okay. You categorize people, and as far as your intellectual fairness goes, you judge them very quickly. Of course, the only way to change your mind is if you get to meet them, which most of the time you don't. Now, when the entire world becomes a stereotype, you start to dismiss them as ordinary. You'll walk through a crowd of people and feel as if you're the only one who is really alive and able to see through the lie they are living. And just like that, Stephen, I found your category. All this adds up to an assumption.
And what assumption would that be?
Come on, Stephen, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I sure as hell don't. Come on, I'm interested. One of you spit it out.
Stephen, you should say it. I need to know you're not hiding from your own thoughts.
Why would that matter to you?
I'll tell you why.
It means some people don't deserve life, and the only way they could is if they were honest about it by admitting how useless they are.
There you go. I knew you weren't afraid to say it.
That's a hell of a thing to say.
I guess so.
Want to hear the catch to this?
Yeah.
You have to prove you're worth more than they are. What do you think earns someone the right to say that?
Knowledge. And money.
Do you have either of those?
I don't have much money, and to say I had enough knowledge would defeat the purpose because I have to know it's impossible to know everything.
From where you are now, you could think about it on a much smaller scale. If I said the three of us in this room had to, in some way, stand out from one another, what would you say to that?
Well, anything special about us isn't particularly unique compared to most.
Exactly. You start on a small scale, and then you work your way up to the point where you can't separate yourself from anyone else.
What happens when you get there?
You find a way to distinguish yourself.
So now you're tiptoeing into dangerous territory.
So am I different?
You really want to get into that?
I want to know where I fit in a strange little world.
I guess that could work. Starting just between us, you're definitely the most physically gifted, and I'm sure you've earned it.
What about yourself?
I'll let you guys think of one, but you've both just met me today. Oh well, I still want to know what you guys think.
It's interesting how you figure people out. When you talked about the way I think, how long did it take you to decide that about me?
Well, I couldn't know for sure until we talked for a little while, but it's really in your eyes.
What about my eyes?
Don't take this the wrong way, but I could tell you wouldn't have shown me any real respect unless you approved of me. When you first saw me, the first thing that I thought you were thinking was, who is this jerk sitting on my couch? You don't initially care for anyone.
You're right. I'm sorry.
No hard feelings. I like seeing people change. It means I meant more to them than small talk.
Then I guess I'd say you're really good at reading people.
I could agree with that.
Fine. How about you, Stephen?
It's not right for me to make it up for myself.
I got it.
What do you think?
Well, you really think that about me?
More or less.
I didn't know that. So Sam, how do you distinguish yourself from everyone else?
By getting your hands on what buys it. Money and knowledge.
Obtaining knowledge is tricky, but probably much easier to accomplish in the long run. The money is where the real problem starts for me.
What if it wasn't?
I respect money, the way a lot of people who have it don't. If it wasn't a problem for me, I'd start something with it.
Start your own business?
I don't know. I just know I'd start something. Something that grows. And I know businesses can grow, but they easily become corrupt if they didn't already start out that way. I'd buy a whole bunch of land and build a 20-foot wall around it and just grow stuff. I know how that sounded, but it was honest.
You shouldn't be ashamed of being honest.
I'm not.
I work at an herbal shop. That's where I borrowed this thing from. I don't know why, but that place attracts some of the weirdest, scariest people I've ever met. After a while, you get used to it. You know, it grows on you. But I'll always remember what happened to me the second week I was there.
What happened?
I was supposed to close the shop that night. We close late on weekends, and this was a few minutes before I was leaving. I'm sitting at the counter, and this pale, gross-looking junkie comes stumbling in. He didn't look like much, which means he looked desperate, and that made me nervous. I couldn't seem to figure him out. He stood by the door staring at me for a while. I asked if there was something I could help him with, but he didn't say anything. He started walking towards me, and the only thing I'm thinking is, yep, this is it, my first robbery. I'll be honest, I can get really nervous in those situations. I mean, it's sort of like anxiety attacks. I can hear my heart beating, my chest feels compressed, just very uncomfortable. It seemed like it took a good 2 minutes for him to finally get to the counter.
What did he do?
Nothing, he just wanted some cigarettes.
I thought something happened.
I was getting to that. This guy wasn't as bad as he looked, and we talked for a little. This is what surprised me. He reaches into his torn-up back pocket and pulls out the biggest stack of cash I've ever personally seen in my entire life. I just stood there staring at it. He laughed when he saw how impressed I was. Apparently, he just finished doing a small job for this guy who plays out all sorts of ventures simultaneously. If he lets you work for him, it's a one-time thing. That being said, depending on what you're capable of, the more risk you take, obviously more money is involved. I hear he has work that could, well, you'd be able to buy plenty of land and have a 20-foot wall put up around it. I also know how to get in touch with the guy.
I need a shower.
I wasn't trying to.
It's not that. I have to take a shower. See you guys later. Hi, I hope you enjoyed the film. It should give you an idea of what to expect if we are able to fund this project. This will be a feature-length film. The script is already written and ready to go. I will have 2 other animators working on the project with me if the funding comes through. We will also produce an original score for the film. Anything you donate is greatly appreciated. We hope to make a terrific film for you guys. Thank you.